to predictability. The milkman, the paper boy, evening TV. Did I get delivered here? Somebody tell me, please. This whole world's confusing me. Clouds as mean as you've ever seen. Ain't a bird who knows you're true. Then a little voice inside you whisper, don't sell your dreams so soon. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, everywhere there's a place of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, the light is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look.
Friends, welcome to the 2020 Young Life Virtual Banquet. We're so excited to have you with us. Tonight we get to share with you in a very unique way what the Lord is doing through this ministry in Radford and Pulaski County. For me, the story of Young Life is a personal one. I got involved back in 2004 when I was a scrawny knucklehead freshman at Christiansburg High School. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I remember being in the lower commons one day and being introduced to a guy by the name of Steve Rawls. Steve was a student at Virginia Tech, and little did I know at the time was also a Young Life leader. I remember Steve introducing himself to me, and the next time I saw him, Steve remembered my name, which meant the world. And Steve and I built a friendship based on our mutual love of mid-2000s rap and Fuddruckers. May it rest in peace. Eventually, Steve invited me to something called Young Life, and I remember going and having way more fun than I expected. But most importantly, at the end of the night, Steve Rawls stood up with his Bible and read out of Scripture and made Jesus come alive to me in a way that I'd never experienced before. A few months later, I gave my life to Christ, and my life has never been the same since. The reality is, my story is not unique. In fact, in Radford and Pulaski County, there are leaders like Steve Rawls reaching out to kids every single day. And to start tonight, I want you to hear some of the stories of those leaders.
My name is Joshua Brown.
My name is Jenny Sayers.
My name is Jack Miles.
My name is Noah Lauritsen.
I'm a teacher at Dalton Intermediate School.
I am currently in grad school at Radford University getting my master's in social work.
I am currently a senior at Radford University.
Currently, I am a seminary student working with Valley Bible Church as a church partner to Young Life.
I lead at Radford High School.
So I'm leadership training at Radford University.
I lead Young Life College at Radford University.
I lead Young Life at Pulaski County High School.
It's actually really fun to lead in my current stage of life because I'm a middle school leader or a middle school teacher and a high school leader. I get to make a ton of relationships with kids before they even make it to high school. So I would like to think that I'm different than a lot of teachers as far as making relationships goes and as far as kids can come to talk to me and know a lot of kids that aren't even in a lot of my classes.
It looks a lot like getting coffee after work and with girls, having people at our house late at night, hanging out. It looks like doing events when we can and with the social distancing and all that fun stuff with COVID that COVID brings, trying to stay within those limits.
Right now, it looks like a decent amount of free time. Do one-on-ones with a lot of guys. I have time to go on campus, walk around, ask questions. We spend time tabling on campus and seeing what students are doing and kind of catching the atmosphere of the university and what they're able to do.
Leading right now looks like finding free time and driving to the school and praying, or trying to set up a time with a guy that we can hang out, go play frisbee golf, or play video games.
I think it's really important that there's a relationship first for students to know that I care about them, to know that I'm more than just a teacher to them that wants like, ooh, I want you to be smart, or I want you to graduate, or that type of stuff. I think it's really important that first kids know that I care about them. And then once it's there, it's just asking questions. What do you believe? What do you think is true? Have you ever thought about this before? And then asking questions about who Jesus is, and telling them who he is and what they think about that.
We do life together. We sit around. We have things like Connect and Club, but also we just sit around and we talk about how Jesus has impacted our lives and what that means for us. And part of that, a lot of it is like having people at our house for dinner, getting coffee with friends, and just doing those things that we would normally do. Just inviting people to come alongside it.
Essentially, I get to know their story, and I get to hear what they've been through in their stage of life. And by the end of the conversation, my goal is that I can talk about the story of Jesus and how it can complete their story, how it changes all of our stories, how his life, death, resurrection affects all of our lives.
Starting relationships with guys and building them to get you to a place where you can talk about the gospel, and most importantly, not making the gospel boring.
Leading is absolutely worth it. We have so many kids that just don't feel cared about, that have all kinds of lies that they believe are true about themselves, all kinds of idols that they are just like chasing after.
Leading is definitely worth it. It can be hard at times, but it's definitely worth it, and I wouldn't change it for the world, or I couldn't imagine living or doing life without leading and giving that part of myself away to people.
It has been a delight to me and in my life, and it's changed radically the way that I view how to live out the gospel and the ways that Christ can affect us as we are going around and talking with each other and meeting people and sharing our stories.
Leading is 100% worth it. It's very time consuming and not something to take lightly, but you grow so much in your relationship with the Lord as well as aiding people towards Jesus.
So if you're considering it, do it, because God will do amazing things through you, and things that you can't even imagine.
Hi, we're Doug and Carol Smart, and we're on the committee for Young Life in Radford and Pulaski. And we have a history with Young Life. All three of our kids were involved in it. And we've served on a Young Life committee for
26 years.
26 years, for a long period of time. And actually, one of the area directors and I came and prayed for Radford High School and for Pulaski High School long before Young Life was officially started in 2001. And on the committee, we're in the background helping to raise support for Young Life within Pulaski and Radford. We're doing praying for the ministry. We're helping out with the leaders and making sure that they have what they need to gain contact with our kids in the high schools and the middle schools. We're the ones that kind of help put together with other people that are interested the banquet, the virtual banquet that we're doing today, as well as the Young Life Golf Tournament. And those are fundraisers that are specifically for allowing this ministry to take place in our area.
We have seen the impact that it made on our children. And two of our children, even after graduating from college, they were leaders in college. They graduated and then they went on to continue with Young Life in different capacities. And we just felt like it's such a ministry that has such an effect on kids. It can have such a great effect on kids leading them to the Lord. And so we felt like this is something that we wanted to be involved with, and we've kept involved with.
The mission of Young Life is simple. It's to introduce adolescents to Jesus Christ and help them grow in their faith. So we reach out to kids on their turf and build bridges of friendship to have gospel conversations.
And how do we do that practically?
Well, it's the 4 C's. It's contact work, it's club, campaigners, and camp.
And contact work really is just meeting kids where they are. going to the school, going to games, finding where they'll be, and to establish relationships by meeting them where they are.
Club, we get to invite them to come out, to have a great time, sing, hang out with their leaders, and hear about Jesus.
And Campaigners is just another way to hear about Jesus, but maybe to go a little bit deeper and to hear him maybe in a different way with their friends. They get to sit with maybe someone that knows a little bit more and get to learn about Jesus.
And camp, the highlight of any high schoolers' summer or fall. We get to take kids away from their environment into a pristine camp situation where they get to hear the full gospel presented, and they get to go back with their friends and their leader, and they get to talk about it and experience real life that way.
And that's all pre-COVID.
So that's what things look like normally, and here's what it looks like now.
And so Pursuit has really changed of high school kids, where we can't really go to the school and hang out as much. And so that means that there's been a lot more FaceTime chats and text messages back and forth. And instead of maybe going to the school, maybe just finding some open air places at the park where they can follow best practices, but still get to engage relationally with high school kiddos.
For Campaigners, we've been doing, rather than large groups, we've been doing lots of small groups with Bible studies, still getting in the Word and still meeting with leaders, and focusing a lot more on discipleship than we've ever got to in the past.
We currently have 11 leaders spread out over 4 ministries. We have 3 leaders at Radford High, 3 at Pulaski County High, 3 at Radford University, and 2 who are specifically tasked with training new leaders. Alongside financial support, this is our area's biggest need. We need adults who care enough about kids to come into their lives, to build bridges of authentic friendship, and to share the hope of Jesus with middle school, high school, or college kids. We need people that we can say with confidence to students, follow them as they follow Christ. We take each leader through a 10-week training process, have them interview with our committee, and do a background check, because we take our responsibility as gatekeepers in the lives of kids very seriously. And you may be saying to yourself, but Isaac, I'm too old. But kids don't need leaders who are cool, they need leaders who care. My last year in Franklin County, Virginia, on Young Life staff, we placed 3 leaders in their 50s. Jesus doesn't need your youth, he needs you.
There are 12,097 students that we want to spread the gospel to. We want these students to hear the gospel and to learn about Jesus from a friend. We have dreams of being able to extend our ministry into Pulaski County Middle School as well as Dalton Intermediate. In other areas, Young Life has been able to extend their ministry and added Capernaum, which is a ministry for youth with cognitive disabilities, and Young Lives, which reaches out to teen moms. This ministry already exists in the New River Valley, and we want to see this in the Radford and Pulaski County areas as well. With your help, we're continuing to meet the needs of the students in our community, and we're so grateful for all you've done to make that happen.
So this past fiscal year for Young Life provided us with a lot of challenges through the COVID-19 pandemic. But our donors generously gave to the ministry, and we ended the fiscal year with a slight surplus. If our monthly gifts continued from last year, it would account for $98,088. Our golf tournament brings in around $15,000 annually, and we receive $5,000 in expected grants. Our hope is that tonight we will raise the $26,968 so that our staff can focus solely on recruiting and training leaders and on being with students.
Hi, my name is Emily Brown. I'm the Young Life College Director at Radford University. I wanted to give you a little bit of an update of how we've been doing ministry this semester with students. We've shifted our ministry model significantly by spending a lot of time one-on-one and in small groups. In those one-on-one relationships, we've been doing a lot of discipleship. That just means reading the Bible together, studying the Bible, and asking those big questions about who God is and what He really wants for our lives. And so in those one-on-one relationships, we've got a wide range of students right now. We have some students who have just come to faith in Christ, some students who maybe are just taking their faith seriously for the first time, and we've even got students who are about to graduate, and they've laid a solid foundation while they've been in college to walk with Christ for the rest of their lives. And we're really excited to launch them out into the world and see what God does with them. And because we can't meet in large groups, we've been meeting in small groups instead of doing club and campaigners like we traditionally do. At the beginning of the semester, my teammates and I recorded all of our club talks in advance, and we've been posting them online. So every Tuesday, we have a Tuesday talk where our friends or Young Life leaders are getting together with their friends in groups of like 2, 3, 5, or 7, and watching the club talk and then having a meaningful discussion about it afterwards, because we've provided discussion questions. And that's the most important part of club, so that's how we've been sharing the gospel with our friends. Our vision for campus in the coming years is that our friends that we've been spending time in one-on-one relationships with and in discipleship would then bring their friends to a Young Life College event where we can share the gospel with them. Or they would sit down with their friend one-on-one like we've done with them and would share the gospel with them. And then in the future, those students would have the opportunity to be discipled, so that we would have disciples making disciples. And we would love to see our ministry grow in that way, kind of from the ground up in the coming years. Many of our students' relationship with Young Life begins right there, in a relationship with a Young Life leader. Whether they met their leader on the basketball court, on campus, in the community, in class, it begins right there with a friendship with a Young Life leader who cares about them and shares the gospel with them. And because this mission is so centered on kids and their stories, we want you to hear some of them now.
Life used to be so boring and bland. I was lost. I was mean. I was sad. And I felt alone, wishing that someone would take the time to listen to me or to care.
Before Jesus, I didn't have a purpose, and I just didn't know what life was about before Jesus.
So for me, I guess I was baptized when I was 7, and I kind of did it just because I was trying to be a good kid and it was the right thing to do. For me, it was not really a personal relationship with God at all. It was me just feeling guilty and knowing that I was a sinner and not wanting God to punish me for not doing what I thought I was supposed to do.
I felt pretty sad and alone. I didn't know who I was.
Before I met Christ, I was lost.
My life began to change when my Young Life leader gave me a call and moved into my neighborhood. My Young Life leader is my friend, even my best friend. I've learned about life and gotten some good advice. My leader is always there when I need someone to talk to.
I met my Young Life leader when he moved into the house behind mine. I would say he's kind of like a father figure to me because he's taught me a lot about life, but he's also my best friend.
I met Emily when I transferred here my sophomore spring. I had really wanted to get into a Christian organization, so I talked to my counselor and she looked up the Radford programs and Young Life popped up. She gave you an email and I remember coming to connect. We had Bible study and it was a super deep conversation. It wasn't shallow, and I just remember having a great talk and knowing that this was something I wanted to pursue more.
It's definitely very amazing. We go and get coffee sometimes and go on walks.
Walking with Jesus isn't easy, but I know that He loves me no matter what. He is good, and there's nothing that I can do to get away from Him. I've learned that Jesus is the answer to all my questions I've been asking. His unconditional love cannot be earned, and it can't be taken away.
Because of my relationship with Jesus, my life has gotten a lot better. I've grown better relationships with people.
No matter what you do, you're still going to be forgiven. He's accepting.
He loves me a lot. Like I said, he's always there for me, and he's guiding me throughout my life, so I have nothing to worry about.
Spending time with Jesus isn't a chore anymore, it's more of a priority, and I've noticed that when I've done that, I can just feel his love and his grace overflowing into all of my relationships with the other people in my life.
These stories are why we do what we do for Young Life. From committee to our donors, to our staff, to our leaders, we're all of one mind. Students in our area deserve to hear about the God of the universe who loves them deeply from a trusted friend. My name is Tom England, and I've been on the Radford Pulaski County Young Life Committee for over 10 years.
We want to invite you to link arms with us in this mission in some practical ways. We know that everybody is gifted differently, some with finances, some with time, and so we want to go through some ways that no matter what your giftings are, you can be a part of this mission. So, in your box, you'll find one of these response cards, and now would be a great time to pull it out. Or if you'd prefer to fill it out online, there will be a link that appears right here on the bottom of your screen, which might be a little bit quicker. First, we'd love to know who you are. So if you take some time to fill out your name, address, your email, and your phone number, we'd love to know how to get connected with you. If you're a couple filling this out and you'd both like to receive updates, please feel free to put both email addresses.
The first way to get involved is with your finances. We mentioned earlier that our goal is to raise $26,968 through this campaign. That's a tall order.
But maybe there's one of you out there that says, you know what, I'm going to write that check. We'd love for you to do it.
Or maybe it'll take a small army. Monthly donors give our area a great sense of what to expect, and if we broke that number into 12, that would be $2,247 per month for the next 12 months. That could be raised by 45 couples or individuals coming on board for $50 a month. The reality is, for some of you, that number could be even more. We trust where the Lord leads you.
The easiest way to set up a monthly gift is online. You'll see a link now at the bottom of your screen that will automatically designate your money to Radford and Pulaski County. Or if you prefer to mail in a check, you'll find an envelope already in your box that you can send the check right into our office. Many of you may have been watching tonight and have said, put me in, coach. You want to get involved with your time. So now let us tell you how you can get involved with your time.
One of the ways is by joining the committee. Committee is a group of concerned and supportive locals that get involved with Young Life to raise funds and to support the leaders in their daily work and work with students.
So if you're interested in that, please put a check box right here. I'd say for all of these check boxes, it's not you committing to being on our committee, it's just you saying you're interested, and we'll follow up. There's going to be others of you guys who say, we've got a heart for kids and we want to work with them directly. If you're interested at all in being a leader, or maybe you might have somebody who is, please check that box and we'll follow up.
Our ministry also needs prayer on a continuous basis, and we have a team of prayer warriors that just stay focused on the prayer for the leaders, the committee, and the overall ministry for Young Life, and particularly for the kids of Radford and Pulaski County.
We also host a golf tournament each summer. You might say, I love playing golf and love supporting kids. That's a great way to do it. If you check playing in the golf tournament, we'll follow up with you next year once we have the exact date for it. Or maybe you say, I love planning events like that. We'd love to have your help in planning next year's golf tournament.
Lastly, the banquet could not occur without the support of many people. We want to thank our committee members, our leaders, and especially our sponsors. In particular, Meridian Bird Removal has been a steady supporter of our Radford Pulaski County Young Life group. If you know other people who would like to get involved with that, and the table hosts in particular for the banquet, we would love to hear from you. We'd love to have you as table hosts for our banquet next year, which we hope will be in person.
Guys, that's the end of our banquet tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.